All right, I'm out here kind of tinkering with the truck a little bit, so I figured I would do a little bit of an update on where I'm at right now. It's been a little while since I've worked on it and been out here to get a video. I haven't worked on it a whole lot in the last week or so. I've had other stuff going on and I just haven't made the time for it and been waiting on some parts and stuff like that. So, show you what we got going on now. All right, so the Beltec Street Performance shocks are on the rear. They fit right up. Everything seems to be good there. I was worried about needing a notch, and after I put those on, you can tell it's pretty close, but I've climbed on the back bumper and jumped on it quite a bit, and it doesn't seem to come anywhere near the frame, so I think I might be able to get by with that. I figure even once I get the bed on, if it bangs the frame every once in a while, I'm not too worried about it. If it's just an occasional thing, I can get by until next winter, and then I can pull the bed back off and put a notch in it like I want. That's not too big of a deal. I did end up getting the front lowered. It's just a 3-inch drop spring up front. I've still got drum brakes, so they don't offer a spindle. So I just went with the biggest drop spring I could get. So eventually I'd like to make the front lower as well, but this is just kind of a temporary get it back on the road and looking halfway decent deal. I went ahead and threw these caps on here. These are the Astro caps or poverty caps, whatever you want to call them. That's the kind of the final look I want to go with. This other side, I've got my other caps that came with these wheels. They're just like a moon style cap. I'll probably have to run these for a little while, just because of the way that they mounted them on these wheels. It's just sitting on there now. But they did these little flat tabs that are welded to the wheel. It's got 3 tabs there, and then I don't know if you can tell or not, but the holes are drilled and tapped. And then there's holes, 3 corresponding holes on the caps as well, so you actually bolt the cap to those tabs. It's really a nightmare, and I can't imagine how I would go about drilling the holes in the Astro caps to correspond with those. But my wife had got me some Volkswagen bus cap clips that I plan on using on these. I gotta cut these tabs off and then drill and tap for the bus clips. Then with those, I should be able to run either cap, and really in any I think they're 10-inch caps. I should just be able to pop any of them in place and not have any issues. But I thought that the caps did kind of break up all the black on the wheels a little better. It was a lot of black, just kind of blended in and didn't really look all that great. But yeah, the front's lowered. The back is all done other than the T brake line that I got to replace and hooking up the soft line back there. Under the hood here, the intake manifold is just kind of sitting on there for now, just to cover up the valley there and make sure nothing got down in there. Even though, I mean, it's sitting in the shop, but I just didn't want to knock anything in there and it go where it didn't need to go. This is a used intake manifold I picked up from my buddy. It cleaned up really well. I used some purple power and a wire brush, and then I bought some aluminum brightener off Amazon and went over it with that as well, and it cleaned up really nice. So I tore the old intake off to do this, and of course I've got the chrome water neck, and whenever I tore it all apart and I set this intake manifold on here, I was like, that's just not the look. Look at how out of place that intake manifold is. I was like, I can't, in good conscience, put this thing together without replacing the valve covers. So I hopped on eBay and I had a set saved that they were kind of the set that I really had my heart set on for this, and they had dropped the price on them almost $40. So I was like, well, I guess I'll go ahead and order the valve covers. So that's why I haven't really done a whole lot with the truck in the last couple of weeks, because I've been waiting on different parts. I also, whenever I pulled the intake manifold, I had a couple of the bolts that kind of started to round a little bit when I was pulling them out. So I ordered a new hardware set for the intake manifold, and then a new hardware set for the valve covers as well. So all that'll be nice and shiny and new. I also ordered the chrome breather for the valve cover and a new PCV valve. And while the alternator bracket is loose and off, I went ahead and ordered a chrome alternator bracket as well. So should doll it up a little bit. It'll look a whole lot better than it does. I've got the new intake manifold gaskets. The valve covers are here. The valve cover gaskets are here. The hardware for the intake manifold is here. I think all I'm waiting for to put it back together is the new bolts for the valve covers. And the valve covers are literally just sitting on here right now. The bolts are all loose on those, so it should go together fairly quick after those bolts show up, and they should be here tomorrow. I'm off work for a couple of days, so I'm going to get a little bit of extra time to work on it these few days. This sensor back here doesn't have any wiring going to it, as well as this one here. So I need to do a little bit of tracking and see if I can figure out where the wiring is for that stuff, because I would like to have as many sensors as possible to be able to know what's going on with this thing, especially with not knowing much about this motor. The LS that was in this truck before, I literally had a water temperature gauge. That was all I ever had. Speedometer never worked. Voltage gauge, nothing. I just had water temperature gauge. So I would like to have a little bit more than that this go around. Trying to think if there's anything else under here. I would like to eventually, probably pretty soon, because the whole truck needs exhaust, I'd like to take these headers off and go to like a ram horn style, factory style manifold, just because that's the look that I like. And then maybe next winter I don't know if I'll pull the motor, if I'll cover it. It doesn't take up a lot of space in there, but I would like to kind of clean up this engine bay and spray some paint on it so it looks decent under the hood, especially after getting all this done to the motor. It should look pretty decent under there, other than the engine bay itself being pretty ugly. I'd probably eventually like to swap to a aluminum radiator with electric fans as well, but I'm not in a big hurry to do all that. The plan still is to get it going, get it on the road, and then kind of chip away at some of the stuff that I actually want to do to the truck. But the main concern is being able to get it to drive. Probably the exhaust is like basically sitting on the rear end the way it is, so I might go ahead and chop that exhaust off where it goes to bend up for now, just to be able to drive the truck once I finish all this stuff up here and the brakes and all that. That way I can test drive it and not have to worry about that exhaust breaking one of the new brake lines, or burning through the soft line, or anything like that. I'll probably have the whole exhaust redone. I've got a buddy that's done a couple of trucks for me and in the past, that he's pretty good with exhaust, and he's working at a hot rod shop right now. But I may just have him go ahead and put the ram horn manifolds on it, and because it'd be nice to be able to just drive it over there, not have to put this thing on a trailer. But have him put those ram horn manifolds on and then run all new exhaust. My mom works at a tire shop that's not too far from where he works at, and the owner of the shop that he works at is in pretty good with the place that my mom works at. But where my mom works, they used to do exhaust, and their exhaust guy retired, and then they had another guy that came for a little while to do exhaust, and then he was there for a couple of years, and now he's kind of retired as well. So they still have quite a bit of supplies, like pre-bent tubing and various sticks of exhaust tubing and mufflers and all kinds of stuff that has just been kind of sitting over there since he left. So I was kind of thinking maybe get my buddy to take a look at the truck and see what he thinks we need for it, and then maybe go over there and rummage through what they've got, put a little bit of cash in their pocket for some supplies that are just sitting there collecting dust for now, get some of that stuff out of their way as well. But that's just kind of spitballing their ideas of what we're going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do as far as mufflers. It's got some glass packs on it right now. One of the trucks that he had done for me in the past, that little red Mazda pickup, on it, we didn't end up having enough space under the truck for it. Whenever the frame was on the ground, the exhaust hung just a little bit lower than the frame, and I didn't like that, so we ended up changing it. I actually had that done at my mom's work, and then whenever I picked it up, I didn't like how it was, so I had my buddy fix it and ended up just pulling the glass packs off of it, or the glass pack off of it. But it was a little 4-cylinder Mazda B2200, and did a glass pack and then a factory style muffler as well, and that thing was basically silent whenever it was sitting there running. It was pretty cool. I don't know. I like quiet stuff just because everybody else has loud stuff. I kind of like to be quiet and understated. So I might do something quiet on this as well, or might add a little bit of tone. I don't know. I know I won't reuse anything that's here though. This is all pretty horrible, pretty cobbled together with welds, and so we'll just start from scratch. And it all hangs under the frame on this, which eventually is going to be a problem. So I would like to get everything tucked up out of the way where it needs to be as well. But yeah, that's 12 minutes of rambling, but still making progress, and gonna keep chipping away at it. Hopefully by the end of this weekend, I've got a little bit more done. I'd love to be able to start the truck by the end of the weekend, but I'm not 100% if I can make that happen or not. We've got a little bit going on, so we'll play it by ear. I've also got this yellow bug over here that on the New Year's thing, my buddy got a hold of his dad, and his dad's got one that is wrecked that they were wanting to fix up, and this one has a lot of the parts that he needs. So I need to get a hold of the guy that owns this car, see if we can go ahead and pull off the parts that he wants off of it and maybe get this thing out of the way. And then I need to figure out what I'm going to do with this Tahoe. I've got a couple of ideas, but I would like for it to not take up space anymore. I don't know if I'll sell it or if I'll keep the engine out of it and then scrap what's left. I might have a use for the engine for another project, but I really don't know for sure. And then I've got some other news on something else, but I'll wait and see if that pans out. But might be something big going on somewhere else, but I gotta wait and see if the whole deal gets done there. I'm kind of playing the waiting game right now. So, but yeah, hopefully my next video I'll have a update for something else as well. But yep, that's where we're at on the C10.